The sunset discomfort. That's the name I gave to a state I often experience. The raw beauty of a sunset gifted by nature. How can one truly grasp it? Every time I contemplate a sublime landscape, a unique monument, an authentic scene, I feel overwhelmed by this sublime, this singularity, this authenticity, without knowing what to do with it. And this powerlessness translates into discomfort. For the past 2 years, I've lived in Kyoto, Japan, a hectic life where I often buried this discomfort deep within me. I no longer lingered on sunsets as I once did, citing other concerns unique to expatriate life. Contemplation had disappeared from my vocabulary. I had brief surges of it here and there, but the discomfort would then take over again, stronger than before. And then I had other things to focus on. When so many struggles wait on the world, how can I justify such discomfort? Frustrated by this conscious avoidance, in an age where the camera mechanically interposes itself between the eye and the world, I felt a kind of itch. A call for an alternative way to apprehend reality. So I carelessly hitchhiked across Japan. Sometimes I'd take my watercolors, a clumsy substitute for contemplation. It helped a little, but the practice was too hasty to be therapeutic, and I hesitated at the thought of true commitment. As the time came for me to leave Japan, a project began to sprout in my mind. During my stay, I had admired with envy the paintings of Ella Ducan, Hokusai, and the woodblock prints of Hasui Kawase. Why not embark on a journey through Asia with brushes in hand? A rough itinerary quickly formed. The north of Japan, then Korea, China from north to south, Vietnam, and finally a return to the heart of China. My gear would be Spartan, the bare minimum needed for camping and clothing, and most importantly, my watercolor kit. Not to forget the paper, lots of paper. My first destination, Hokkaido. Konuma Lake, likely shaped by the eruption of Mount Komagatake. It's hard to imagine its explosive beginnings when looking at its calm waters covered in lotus. I had this landscape all to myself as I started sketching in the early morning. The looming rain only heightened the suspended charm of the scene. While I painted, an amateur bird watcher stopped to tell me how she came here daily to observe an endemic bird from this very shore. I didn't see it. Only the mosquitoes broke the stillness of the moment. After visiting Otaru and Sapporo, I ventured into the heart of the mountains to spend the night sheltered from the storm in this refuge. I was welcomed with songs and provisions by a group of merry souls. Time seemed to have no hold within these walls. They, however, were thick with memories. There was a stack of guestbooks, fragments of stories lived in this chalet. As I read them, I was filled with a strange nostalgia for moments I had not lived. I never found the right words for this kind of book, so I chose the brush over the pen. There is something I haven't told you yet. Hokkaido is teeming with bears. A few days before I arrived, a friend shot this video. So my to-do list in Shiretoko was pretty straightforward. Paint and meet some bears. I reached the region of the 5 lakes without spotting a single one. No matter, by then the sun was already low in the sky, and one of the most breathtaking landscapes in Hokkaido, if not all Japan, was waiting for me. Now I'm starting to feel it. The catharsis. With my back to the setting sun, I paint these mountains without questioning why. Without chasing beauty or truth. I simply paint. I hadn't given up on the idea of seeing bears. I decided to spend the night at the Cape, where bear sightings were pretty common. For safety, I slept in a kind of cage. At dawn, I was woken by a wind so strong it felt like it could blow the whole place away. No bear had come by, not even in my dreams. Down below, the Furepe Falls spilled into the sea. I said goodbye to Shiretoko. A bird watcher picked me up in his car. He had come all the way here to watch the migration of Japanese gulls, and maybe also to take a break from his job as a salaryman in Tokyo. In a way, we were both trying to escape something. Later, a kind man and his mother, 2 lovely locals, introduced me to the island's most iconic dish, Jingisukan. They even let me spend the night at their home in Asahikawa. I had the honor and the pleasure of joining the Hibi no Itoma podcast, where we played traditional Japanese games and talked about life in France and Japan.
スペシャルゲストの
フランスのフェリックスさん
です 逆に、フェリックスさんは、まあ今までいい人だったけど、怖い人いなかった？
例えば、さっきの旅に、神奈川県から東京都まで、行きたかった。
はいはいはい。
その時に、ヤクザは、乗せてくれた。
すげえ。
本場、指なかったとか入れずに。
すげえ。
It was almost time for me to leave Hokkaido, but it would be criminal to come to the North Island without taking the time to learn about the people who shaped its soul, people history almost erased. I'm talking about a culture like no other, rich in complex animist beliefs, unusual rituals, and a refined artistic tradition you've probably never seen before. I'm talking about the Ainu. So I went to the National Ainu Museum and Park, Upopoi. There, you can learn about this indigenous group who were forced to assimilate as the Japanese expanded northward. Their culture, their spiritual beliefs, their language, their art. None of it is like mainstream Japanese culture. I really encourage you to learn more if you're curious about their fascinating worldview and their long struggle for recognition. There is so much to explore, but for now, I'll focus on one thing. The striking beauty of Ainu clothing, created with incredibly intricate embroidery and weaving. Words don't really do it justice. Just look at this. After the visit, I headed back to Otaru to catch the night ferry back to Kyoto Prefecture. After a few nights sleeping under bridges, I hitched my way down to Fukuoka. It was time to leave the land of the rising sun and head for the land of morning calm. Next stop, Korea.